So we're just coming up to Ceduna now, which is the start of the Nullarbor Plains, and this is the junction of the air highway now. This is the last part of Australia I've never done, Nullarbor Plains. We're gonna give it a nudge, see how we go. It's one little part of Australia that I've got to link up so that I can pretty much, I've got no spaces on the map of Australia that I haven't been. Anyway, let's see how we go. I'm just nattering on. And we've only got, I think maybe 250 kilometres to get to the Western Australian border. So at some point we're going to pull up, have lunch and eat all the rest of my salad, fruit and vegetables, because they won't let you over the border with any fruit and vegetables at all. Nothing. Not even onions or potatoes. And as you can see, it's pretty flat. Not a tree in sight. Well, maybe a couple of tiny little ones up here. Got a long way to go. For me, about another 2-3 days to get across. One of the scenic lookouts of the Great Australian Bight. Don't know how well it's going to come out on this little Pocket 3 camera, but it's pretty stunning. I can't remember the flies ever being this bad. They're just shocking. They're everywhere, little bastards. You've got to keep your mouth closed, or they're in there as fast as they can. Yeah, pretty spectacular. Western Australian border, coming from South Australia into Western Australia, but the quarantine inspection station, apparently they're a little bit like Nazis here. You're not allowed to take any fruit or vegetables into Western Australia. So I've pretty much eaten all of mine, but I've got a few things to throw out. But they get you to open up everything, and bloody, yeah, they're pretty serious about it. We're good to go. I even had to throw out my onion because it wasn't peeled. So we're in Western Australia. I've got to keep the radio on. See if you can hear any truckies going on about their wide loads and get out of their way. We're actually going downhill, and there's corners. This is Madura Pass, about 500 k's short of Norseman, pretty much well and truly over the Nullarbor, and it's probably pretty difficult to see on this little Pocket 3 camera, but man, this is the only hill I've seen in about 1,000 kilometres. So yeah, that's the plains we were on. Now we've climbed up a little bit. There's actually a hill and a couple of corners. It was pretty exciting. My little motel on wheels. All right, let's keep moving. Cocklebiddy Roadhouse. I think we better get some fuel. $2.32 a litre. Down the road, it'll be 60 cents a litre cheaper. Yeah, well that was 50 bucks for about 20 litres. You're a bit of a captive audience out on the highway here, so they can charge whatever they like. Everything about that place said, keep on moving. First corner at 150 kilometres. That's the end of 90 miles straight. Wow, 90 miles of absolutely dead straight road. So we've got about 160 kilometres to go to get to Norseman, which is kind of like the official end of the, going from east to west, the official end of the Nullarbor crossing. You know, everyone talks about all the Nullarbor and how straight and boring and, you know, there's nothing to see and it's just, and it's amazing in its own right for that reason. But nobody ever mentions what's called the Great Western Woodlands, which is where we are now. It's not quite desert. It obviously gets a little bit more rainfall than further east, but it's just sort of scrubby forest for as far as the eye can see. It's just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kilometres of this. I've almost been all around Australia and everywhere within it, virtually. But I mean, this country is just so vast and so empty, so full of nothingness. But it's amazing in its own way. So here we are at Norseman. What's that? 190 bucks in diesel today. So that's kind of officially the end of the Nullarbor trip, the Nullarbor Plains. Right, go into town and get some groceries. So this is what they call the Tin Camel Roundabout in Norseman. One of these almost life-size camels made of corrugated iron. Pretty cool.